Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Dead Rabbit Radio. I'm your host, Jason Carpenter. I'm having a great day. I hope you're having a great day too. Lots of news this week. We're only 2 days into the week. We've had some major news events. Jussie Smollett, all charges dropped. Now the police are looking into possible corruption with the prosecutor. That's bizarre. They're really going to lay into her. And then Michael Avenatti gets arrested, and I know this isn't a political podcast, but sometimes you just can't avoid this. But Michael Avenatti gets arrested for trying to blackmail Nike for $20 million because allegedly Nike was paying high school basketball players, which is illegal. Super bizarre. And all this is coming out right now. But the most fascinating news story that I've come across in these past 2 days is this, and it's getting almost no play at all. Rockland County, and this is have huge implications, by the way. Rockland County in New York is having one of the worst measles outbreak crises since 2000, when pretty much measles was considered wiped off the map. They have 153 cases of the measles in this county. And they said, listen, here's the thing. They believe up to 7 tourists came into the county. It's almost like the Magnificent Seven. Like, I imagine them, like, riding their horses, but their horses are just made of pure measles. Like, if you punched one, you'd be like, your hand would sink deep in. But anyways, they're riding their measles horses, and they're tipping their hats made of measles, and they're chewing on a long piece of measles, and they ride through town, and they've spread this disease all over. So this is how the county responds to this. This is flat out weird, and I don't think there's any precedent, as far as I know, in American history, except maybe like old-timey Salem witch trial type stuff. The county has said this, starting midnight on Wednesday, so within 24 hours of this podcast coming out. By midnight on Wednesday, this very spooky time too, they could have just made it like 3 in the afternoon. By midnight on Wednesday, if you are under the age of 18 and not vaccinated, and don't have a documented medical reason to show why you are not vaccinated, you are barred from going in public. You cannot be in shopping centers, churches, you can't ride the bus, you can't walk down the street, you cannot be seen in public, either until 30 days pass, or we lift the order early. This is not up for debate, this is ready to go into effect. This is happening. Now, they said, we're not going to stop people. We're not going to ask you for your vaccination papers. We're not the Gestapo. But we hope that people will come forward and realize to be part of the solution rather than part of the problem. Obviously, that's not going to happen. Obviously, and let me say this too. I could care less about the anti-vaccine conspiracy vaccines. It's a conspiracy. I rank it up there with who shot JFK. I get a lot of people are very passionate about it, but I don't care. I don't have kids. I looked into it a long, long time ago, and I was just like, I'm bored. I equate researching anti-vax stuff as watching soccer. A lot of people love it. A lot of people are really into it, but it doesn't do anything for me. I've spent more time wondering whether or not the new Mutants movie is coming out, rather than does vaccines cause autism. It's nothing that really appeals to me. There's no meat to that for me to sink my teeth into. So, but that being said, what I do care about is removing humans from a social setting by law. I can't think of another time that this has happened. They're declaring it a public health emergency. And here's the thing is if you are under the age of 18, they're not, I've read a couple articles on this and they're not very specific. If you're under the age of 18 and you are not vaccinated and don't have a medical reason why you are not vaccinated, they don't just give you a stern talking to. I'm pretty sure this applies to the kids too, but it definitely applies to the parents. Definitely applies to the parents because they will also be held accountable. This is a penalty. They just don't give you a ticket. $500 fine and or 6 months in jail for being unvaccinated in a public spot. That is flat out, un-American. Absolutely bizarre. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I don't even think during the Red Scare, if people thought you were a communist, you couldn't go to Rayleigh's and buy some soap. I mean, bizarre, dude. And here's the thing. You think, well, measles is really bad. It's a disease that can kill people. It can affect pregnant women, stuff like that. And I get that. But I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on for a second and say, this is how this stuff starts. They declare this emergency, and this is their ramification for it. What's to stop them? And people are kind of disputing this, but this story is lost in the shuffle. And I think I stumbled across it. If you are a hardcore anti-vaxxer, it's spreading like wildfire. But once they arrest someone, it'll, I think, be bigger news. But this is the thing. They do this now, and they said, listen, we're having a national health emergency. They've declared a state of emergency in the county, and this is what we're going to do. That sets a precedent. What's to stop them in 10 years from now saying, this religious faith, this political ideology, this belief system is causing chaos in our county, or state, or country, that we are declaring a state of emergency, and if we find out, we're not going to ask you on the street, but if we find out you're posting this stuff on Facebook, which I think is how they're going to catch these anti-vaxxers, people are just going to report them. Because they'll be like, yeah, I'm that guy's friend on Facebook, and he always puts all this anti-vax stuff, and I saw his kids at the comic book shop. Calling the cop. That's really, I think, what's going to happen. Or the police themselves monitoring Facebook posts on that. But they're going to say, if you have that belief system, and we know you have that belief system, you are barred from public for the next X amount of days, because by having that belief system or that political ideology, you are causing chaos in this area. We will put you in jail for 6 months. A state of emergency, that'll be the same excuse. It'll be a state of emergency. Now, some people may say, good, X political belief or X religious belief doesn't have a place in the society that I want to live in. But, remember, guys, I'm old enough to know this. The pendulum swings fairly rapidly in America. We've gone from conservative to liberal like that. And one popular opinion in a time period can become extremely unpopular within a year. This is why this stuff is very, very chilling. And it should be chilling to everyone, regardless of where you're at on the political spectrum. Today's protected speech is tomorrow's hate speech. But now there's a precedent saying that we can declare a state of emergency. And if you have this belief that vaccines cause autism or a whole host of diseases, and because of that belief, you've chosen not to get your child vaccinated, and if that child leaves his or her house for the next 30 days, you will be arrested? And possibly the kid as well? But even if you're arrested, I mean, what's the kid going to do? He can't leave. He's stuck in the house. He's not going to know if the Avengers defeat the Skrull. He can't get his comic books. I guess he could download them. But, I mean, the point is that arresting parents for this, possibly arresting the kids, which I think is unlikely, but arresting the parents for this, at the very least, is insane. And it is just one more step towards a incredibly bizarre and very frightening future. That was a clip from our daily podcast, Dead Rabbit Radio. Dead Rabbit Radio is available anywhere that you listen to podcasts. It's daily paranormal, conspiracy, and true crime news. If you want to hear the full episode that this clip came from, check the link below. Please like and subscribe. And hit that little bell, too. That does some magical stuff. Thanks, guys.